get started. Does anyone want to get out?
Hello there. I am Nick Gibson, and you are watching live the Avatar Rewatch for the final 2 episodes of The Last Airbender. Let me bring in someone. I don't know who this is. Oh, how did you get here?
Wow, I don't know. I just saw you were live, and I was like, oh, okay. I'm very familiar with that show from the visionary film by M. Night Shyamalan.
That didn't take that long.
I know. Immediately I was going for it.
All right, so this is going to be not just a recap of the last 2 episodes, but we are also going to be giving our thoughts on the entirety of book 1 because, well, we did it. We have finished season 1. I think we have deserved this.
Nice.
Yes, there you go.
All right. So the 2 episodes in question are Siege of the North Part 1 and 2, which is the 2-part finale for Book 1, Water of Avatar, The Last Airbender. So, Jared, what are your initial thoughts?
Of the episode arc?
Yes.
Okay, so when I was watching this, I remembered in the back of my head, I was like, okay, so Nick titled this Aang becomes a kaiju or like Godzilla. And I was wondering, okay, how literal is that? Then when I watched the episode, I'm like, oh no, he was being serious.
About as literal as you could possibly get.
Yeah, immediately, audibly, I was like, oh wow, Nick was right.
It's actually kind of funny that we ended up talking about this episode, seeing as how yesterday we were talking about Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim and Godzilla and stuff. By the way, on my channel, we will be talking about the Godzilla movies soon. I hope someone picks that. But anyway, back to this. This was basically, I took it as sort of like a very PG version of Saving Private Ryan because there was always one big action scene, which I loved because I've said throughout the entire season, I love the action in this show. And this basically took it and just ramped it up to 11. I liked how Korra was throwing water at Zuko and freezing him in one spot. I was like, yes.
Yeah, I love that moment of acknowledgement. You little peasant, you found yourself a master, haven't you? It's at times both an insult but also a mark of respect. I just found that really interesting.
Yeah, exactly. And it was like, I'm watching this and I'm like, okay. And again, I say this many times. So this is why people were telling me that I, of all people, have to watch the show.
Yeah. So before we kind of touch upon all that stuff, let's kind of reel it in and go back to the beginning of the 2-parter, where it seems like some time has passed between the last episode and this one. Because they've been training, Aang's kind of been slacking a little bit, Katara is doing well, and Paku. We got someone.
What's up, Lawrence? Yes, that's a good. Okay, wrong franchise, but I like what you're doing there.
He's got the right idea. You know what I mean? I have the spirit, but you got the right idea.
Actually, that works best for the next show that we're going to rewatch on my channel.
Spoilers,
yes. We've announced it at this point, so it's fine.
I mean, we've announced it, but we'll go into detail later.
Yep.
So there's you got the training and whatnot, and then we also have the deepening relationship between Yue and Sokka, which I gotta say, they handled this really well. It feels like they give time for it to breathe.
And so again, what was going in the back of my head was the movie, unfortunately, because this scene was kind of shown a bastardized version in the movie. She doesn't die in the movie, I don't think.
Which in the movie that does not exist, he does die. Basically, the scene, if I remember correctly, because
I thought her hair turns dark and then she's fine. I thought.
No, it plays out roughly the same the scene question, but we're trying to reel it back here. We're trying to reel it back.
But yeah,
I realize you're eager to talk about that part, but like, let's reel it back here, brother. It's a good finale. It's a good finale.
Well, of course.
I'm trying to go in sequence here, so it's all good. It's all good.
Well, of course, but my point is that I like that, and I like how it's basically we're seeing another form of Sokka, like not being a douche, but he's being like more like respectful, because this whole time you could argue he's been the most misogynist character in this entire show.
I would argue that he was really only a misogynist in the beginning.
Okay.
Suki humbled him real quick. Like I feel like after that episode he got a lot better.
That's true.
That's my argument anyway.
That works, yeah. And I definitely and I liked how like one of the things I enjoyed, I know this is skipping around a little bit, but I liked when there actually no, I'll wait. But anyway, I like how there's like how now actually throughout this entire episode, their whole experience with the Fire Nation plays into like them telling like the water people, the strategy is not going to work because we have firsthand experience of these people, like the uniforms. They know that when ash falls from the sky,
it's Emerald Zhao, not Chow.
exactly. And I love this, and I love how she's going back to what you were talking about before. Yeah, you have this whole forbidden love. Oh my gosh, I love you, but I can't because I'm in an arranged marriage, because that trope hasn't been played many times.
I think they handle it fairly well here, though.
They do handle it really well, though. I'm just saying that they take that trope and at least do something interesting with it.
Yeah, like I actually do like that there's a bit of a time jump between these two episodes, because they don't really say how much time has passed, but I think that's a good thing, because it allows enough time for things to breathe, where it's like, okay, I can realistically see Yue, and like they imply that her and Sokka have been kind of hanging out more and whatnot. So it gives more time for her to kind of fall in love and whatnot. And yeah. So basically you have like the most Linkin Park moment ever, where it's like the ashes fell like snow. And the great I'm not gonna torture you with my singing anymore. But yeah, which Sokka knows as like a precursor to a Fire Nation attack. And I really like the chief obviously respects their input, because he knows they've dealt with the Fire Nation every week for 6 months straight,
Exactly.
And then so there's this really, really poignant moment where it's like, all right, we're gonna do this mission. Some of you are not gonna come back. And
thanks for the vote of confidence, boss.
And they have to mark them, and like Sokka volunteers. He walks up, and like as he's walking away, Yue turns. He's crying. It's such a.
What I also love is that his commanding officer turns out to be her fiance. So he's like,
yeah, that definitely, and I know kind of the modern depiction for a lot of these like love rivals is like, oh, he's actually a good guy. It's just blah blah. No. He is the classic quintessential jerk, like how they used to do these.
Who doesn't respect her. He sees her more as like property and more of like more like an advantage to like enrich himself. And it's handled so well. I like it,
especially the climax of his personal storyline. Like, it is about as anticlimactic as
I was about to say. I was like, oh, particularly what happens to him at the end of episode 2. I was like, oh god, this is so good.
Yeah, well, I think it's like more the end of episode 1, but like he's like death to the General Chow, and he just goes off. And they literally had a so anyway moment.
Yeah, I love that. That was so good. I just love. He shows up. He hypes himself up.
It's such below his like measure of attention that like the fact that like a water tribe just tried to assassinate him is like, wait, what? Wait, what?
So you could say, according to Superman, he's not impressed. But I love how he goes over. They hype him up to be like this badass. And then he's like, he runs through, and then the dude basically just sidesteps him.
Yeah, it's such below his attention. It's insane. So how do you
But,
feel about like Paku in this episode? How he's really come around, honestly.
Oh yeah, I love that. Again, I love how everything again builds, and I like how really you could argue all these character arcs come to a head in this arc to the point where you could conceivably just watch book 1 and you have a complete story.
Yeah, and I think that's something that really kind of helps this the show. It's a complete story. Obviously, there's more story to be told, but at least the particular story is complete, so to speak.
Yeah, so you don't have to like go, okay, now I have to watch episode 2 to see how this arc concludes. No, it's done. If you want to continue on, that's fine, but this particular part is done.
I'm going to raise a thing that this is going to be kind of a theme throughout the rest of our rewatch. Avatar plays out a lot like Star Wars, okay?
Mhm.
And book 1 is very much A New Hope, okay?
Yeah.
And it ends very much like kind of like A New Hope. You got the siege, you got kind of like the last minute thing. So this is the New Hope of Avatar.
You have essentially someone using the Force to overcome a great power.
Oh, there's so many comparisons we can make.
It's just me. I got words to say about what Aang does at the end of this episode, of this battle.
See, the thing that I really like about this finale, it does a lot of stuff that not only not a lot of stuff that like kid shows do, but also a lot of things that shows in general do. Like they showed Aang being heroic and taking down ships, but it's like there's an army of them. Like I really feel like they go into the hopelessness of it. They allow their main character to be vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
In a way that not many even adult shows do.
Yeah, because he's like unconscious for like a good portion of this battle. Then when he wakes up, he's like, "No, I got this."
You got to remember, Aang is essentially a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah,
You're asking a 12-year-old kid to battle a imperialistic Navy army force and to shoulder these responsibilities.
it's like when they asked Luke to essentially become a Jedi and lead the rebellion when he was like what 16.
I think it was more like 18 or 19 or something.
But my point is that he was granted he wasn't as young as Aang,
young.
But he was very young, and then all of a sudden, all this responsibility, he has to fight the most powerful military force in their universe.
At least Luke had the benefit of being a little bit older, a little bit wiser.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even at teenage years, he still had,
all he wanted to do.
I can't leave the farm. I got work to do.
All he wanted to do was pick up some power converters.
You can play with your friends later. I'm so.
What is it about the Skywalker family that whining runs in the family? It takes you a long time to respond. I know you're picking out a clip.
I mean, you probably should have known. You know my clips, and you set me up perfectly for that one.
Yeah, I was like, okay, Anakin Skywalker's probably coming up. But anyway.
Hello there.
Oh yes.
Wait, Obi-Wan! No! We don't want you.
Nick, can I say you need that as my intro whenever I come on this channel?
No shit.
Yeah, exactly. But anyway, so Aang's unconscious. He goes through a whole spirit journey. He comes out, and then they go, "Oh my gosh, all hope is lost." And Aang's like, "No, it's not." So at this point, I'm watching this episode, and I'm like,
"No, you're skipping over a lot of stuff, brother."
Oh,
Again,
okay.
You're skipping so much stuff.
Like, yeah, I know.
Like we haven't even touched upon Zuko's storyline here.
Oh yeah.
So Zuko's been stowing away in the ship. They thought he's dead and whatnot. And Iroh's the general on it. And it's revealed that that Admiral Zhao has been to the secret library. Like, oh my god! Like a library that spoiler alert, we are going to be seeing next season.
Ooh boy.
I'm gonna leave it at that for Jared's sake. Oh my god, that's a great episode. But anyway, so it's revealed that the moon and the ocean spirits push and pull, which I really like this because in reality, the moon's gravity actually does affect our tides.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is
an
actual thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is actual the high tide and the low tide is synced up with the moon. So So the fact that they did that, I thought was like really cool.
Yeah, they sort of tied in some science to their magic universe.
It's almost like they did their research. Oh my!
And he's gonna play that clip any minute now.
And as soon as I sign it,
Oh my.
Knew it.
well, I wasn't going to, but as soon as you called me out, I kind of had to.
Well, you kind of did it, so it's no reason not to.
He did. So yeah. So we got the spirit. We go to the Spirit Oasis and whatnot. Yeah, and so basically, he Sokka going back to Sokka. Douche nozzle's being a douche nozzle, and you know he kind of says some stuff about Yue, attacks him. The chief takes him off, and then later on, he's like, I took you off for very selfish reasons. I want you to guard Yue. Okay, I have a conspiracy theory about this. All right.
Okay.
I think the chief knows he's been spending time with Yue, and he knows that Yue secretly likes Sokka. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I think here's my theory. If Yue had survived, and most likely that kid might have died or whatever, I think he would have had no problem with Sokka, you know, getting the engagement.
Considering the fact that as far as we knew, her ex-fiance kind of died in a very anticlimactic way.
think doing that was multi-layered. Like, I'm going with the assumption he knew about them seeing each other, knew about them, the feelings. Mm-hmm. And he knew that, like, he sees Sokka as a good man. I think it's both to spare the man that Yue obviously loves, also to make sure the person guarding her will do, like, not only is Sokka capable,
will do everything possible to protect her.
Yeah, so I think it's actually a very smart thing. You know, because like the chief seems like a sensible man, and I think he sees. I mean, the marriage itself is political, so it's not nothing. You know.
Yeah, of course.
I do think he kind of sees the kid what he is, but like he probably can't do anything because it's already been done. It's political and whatnot. I think you know that's kind of my personal kind of conspiracy theory about that.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you on that one.
Oh, hey man, how you doing? We got Genuine Comics popping up. How you doing? We're just kind of recapping the last 2 episodes of Avatar, The Last Airbender, Book 1. Have you seen the show? Let us know what you think. You know. Yeah. So going up to this point, what are your thoughts so far, Jared?
This episode is really building up. I'm really enjoying it, and I feel like. So going into this, I was like, okay, the show is good, but is it going to stick to landing? Because that's always my concern with these shows, because a show could be fantastic, but the ending utterly sucks.
Game of Thrones.
Well, yeah. So I'm going through this, and so far, I'm like, okay, this is good so far. This is excellent so far. Mm-hmm. So I'm waiting. Spoiler alert, at no point did I feel like the ending sucked. I'm just going into my thought process throughout this episode. But we appreciate the support, man, anyway.
Yes, likewise. Though I do highly recommend you check out the show. It is amazing.
It's good. This is my first time watching it, like, full on through, because I've seen, like, parts of it, like, when I was a wee lad. But it was really good. But it was a good way to... I know it wasn't the end of the series, but let me put it to you this way. If we decided not to do the other books, I would have still had a complete story.
Yes, for sure. I definitely compare this to Star Wars: A New Hope in that regard. Even
Clone Wars, because really each season is like a separate thing when you think about it.
Mm-hmm. So I will say there's kind of this moment where they do their initial attack, and it's kind of getting nightfall, and then Iroh says to kind of stop to our daybreak because waterbenders are better at night because of the moon.
Again, they're playing off that moon thing. That moon thing is still playing out there, and I'm like, oh yeah, I like this. Yeah. Because for the longest time in this season, the waterbenders were kind of treated like they were Iwata. The waterbenders have been kind of treated as kind of weak. Excuse me. But this episode's like, no. In the right circumstances, they even Iroh says, or like one of the firebender generals, Iroh says, "Hey, listen, we have to beat them before nightfall again because otherwise they'll be unbeatable."
And then Zhao says, "I have a plan."
I prepped. I'm like Batman.
He's not Batman.
No, but so many of these characters have the prep time of Batman.
But they're not Batman.
Yeah, I know that.
Like my exasperated voice kind of creates that like this epic voice. But anyway. So yeah, they launch their attack and Aang's in the spirit realm, and then Zuko attacks.
Mm-hmm.
He had to like climb through all this water, and like you have this like right before he goes, you have this beautiful scene between Zuko and Iroh, and he's like, talks about how when Iroh lost his son, now he think like and Zuko's like, you don't have to say it. I think of you as my son, and it just.
Oh, I just realized my one complaint about this episode. June did not show up at any point.
Of course, that would. Be
I have to bring that up. I'm sorry, I'm a Commander Shepard fan. Just got to bring that up.
If you ever meet Jennifer Hale, you have to have her.
I did meet her, by the way. I have a sign.
You meet her again,
Shepard. Yeah, I have to tell her. I just saw you in Avatar.
You have to get like a really nice picture of June and have her sign it, or get like a June figure. What
I'm gonna do is that. So since Nick, like a douchebag, had someone at Comic-Con praise Wonderbat on my show, I'm going to have Jennifer Hale go, "Drinks are on me."
Now you've got to like. Now what you got to do is you need to find like the who's the DC okay, we'll talk about this later.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's my plan. That's what I'm doing for Nick.
All right, I'm just saying this: if you ever meet the person who played Wonder Woman in the DCU, have her say,
"You mean Gal?"
Like what?
You mean Gal?
No, animated.
Oh, you mean DCAU? You said EU.
Sorry, AU. Sorry, my mistake.
Yeah.
You should have her say something about Super Wonder just to get back at me.
Well, she's Wonderbat, so I wouldn't be able to do that.
Or just any like Wonder Woman actress or whatever.
I'll pick one and just say, can you just say I've always had a crush on a certain Kryptonian?
Or if you meet like a well-known Wonder Woman cosplayer or whatever.
Well, actually, Linda Carter's Super Wonder, so I got the OG on my side. But anyway,
okay, if you get a video of Linda Carter saying that to me,
there you go. But that's gonna be your intro whenever you come on the show for like a month. But anyway, back to the show again. This is my one thing that it's not like I'm not gonna take points off, but it would have made it so much better if Jude showed up just for like a battle or something like that.
How?
She's a Fire Nation person. She could be on one of those ships.
She's in the freaking Earth Kingdom. You think like how the frick is she gonna go for? It's like
I would think they would mobilize their forces.
You're asking someone who's like in who's in St. Louis, Missouri, to get to the North Pole. Like,
I'm not
come
saying
on.
It's realistic. I'm just saying it would have been cool.
She's not even military. She's a bounty hunter.
Does she show up though later on the show? I'll take that as a yes. But anyway, so
you're gonna be waiting a while. Let's just say that.
But in terms of like the action scenes and everything like that, again, once the battle gets started, I'm like, all right. I also like I love when shows do this. When anime shows do this, they combine 3D animation with 2D because you have those tanks that are obviously 3D models, but they're combining with the 2D animation.
I will say, a lot of shows when they do that, it kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. Mm-hmm. I like that this show, they blended it really well to where if you look closely, you can see it, but like it's not immediately obvious that it's 3D. I think they did a really good job of blending it so it does look like a complete shot.
Yeah, it works really well. Because some shows, I do agree with you. It's like, oh, I don't like this. This is clearly not working. But yeah, again, this show does it well.
Let's touch upon this really fateful scene. So the battle's going on. The Water Tribe's actually kind of winning, and so they're in the Spirit Oasis. Zhao has the moon spirit, and he lifts it up, and the moon goes red, and instantly all waterbending ceases.
Mm-hmm.
And he goes through all his speeches, and then with one fire-belling slice, he kills the moon.
And then it goes completely
I'm
black
taking
and white.
advantage of it.
No, but I love how it goes black and white, except for like when fire happens or when Aang does his kaiju thing. I like how they combine, how they like blend black and white with color really well.
If that's the case, you're gonna really love Torrent Samurai issue 3.
Ooh, I can't wait to review bomb it. I'm only kidding. This is a children's show. All right. But anyway, I was about to say, don't use the F-off bar because there are kids watching this probably.
What?
No, okay. But anyway,
You're like, okay, what's he gonna play next?
I was a little concerned there. But anyway, again, I like how they blend black and white and color really well. Again, the show has a lot of innovative ways of making this more than just a cartoon show.
What did you think of the Spirit Realm sequence?
I felt it was pretty cool. It reminded me a lot of Star Wars in that way, when like Luke is communing with Yoda, or like when he goes into like that cave in Empire, and they're basically explaining, okay, so here's who you are, here's what you do, and all that stuff. And he's like, here you must like help them. And I like how in the other world, when you see Aang, his arrow is glowing because he's obviously in the spirit realm. So it's not like he's just lying down there and you don't know what's going on. So I really dug that. I felt that was like really, really a really cool way of doing it.
Yeah, and then when the sequence, we meet Ko, the face stealer. By the way, we have a famous voice actor.
Yeah, his name was reminding me of some. He reminded me of a Quintesson from Transformers.
Actually, his voice reminded me of the host of Galaxy News Radio from Fallout 3.
Okay, I haven't played
because
that
he
much
is
of
a
Fallout.
voice. He is actually the voice of Galaxy News Radio.
Again, so many voice actors in this freaking show that I know.
Right. Three Dog. He's the voice of Three Dog. I'm actually looking on the wiki right now. I'm trying to find the voice actor's name because I definitely recognize the name. I definitely recognize that it is definitely Three Dog. Eric Dellums is the name of the voice actor.
Oh, boy, I just had a thought. Imagine if Zack Snyder directed this battle.
Oh my God, he voiced Nazir.
Oh, really?
He voiced Nazir in Skyrim.
Oh, cool. But Nick, imagine if this thing was in live action done justice, but instead of M. Night Shyamalan, directed by Zack Snyder. Zack Snyder's Avatar, anyone?
He could probably do it pretty decently.
Because he seems like someone that actually respects the source material. Unlike Shyamalan. It's kind of funny. That movie was so scarring. That's why it took me so long to get to the show. Because I'm like, no.
I do think Snyder probably would have done a much better job. I'm not sure if he's the right director for this movie, but he would have done a better job.
He would have at least made it somewhat like the show, I think.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure the VFX would have looked a lot better.
Honestly, the VFX for the movie weren't terrible.
But actually, if you watch Corridor Crew and their VFX artists react, they tore into that movie.
Oh.
and they talk about the VFX is not as good as you think it is. There's certain parts of it that I'm like, why didn't they do this? Again, M. Night is better when he's doing his own stuff.
Yes. So getting back to the show, the moon is dead. Wait, let the moon die. Kill it if you have to.
The time has come for the moon to end.
So it's kind of like an all hope is lost. You got like an all hope is lost situation.
Yep.
Oh, going back, can we give props to Katara for like how well she bodied Zuko? Like she.
Oh yeah, she became a badass, dude.
Like, geez, that is like, oh wow.
And this plays into the end of the episode, though. But we'll talk about that when we get there. But yeah, I was surprised. I'm like, where did this come from? That's how I know there was a time skip, because there's no way that this happened like a day after the previous episode when she advances in skill this drastically.
Yeah, and remember, at the end of the previous episode, they were just starting out. Like,
yeah.
So it had to have, I would say, probably a week or two is my estimation.
Yeah, and if you advance in that short of time by that much, yeah, I think she's pretty badass.
Just keep this in mind about Katara. She had already kind of pretty much mastered the basics at that point. I mean, even when she first went against Wenpaku, she was actually pretty skilled. So, like, her baseline was already decently high to start with. So, I think give her some good instruction, and like she is a naturally talented waterbender. She is naturally talented, and she took to the instruction, and yeah.
Yeah, she did great. I loved it.
And so it basically, you were in our lowest moment, and that's when it happens.
When Aang basically becomes Godzilla. So, all right.
Okay, go ahead.
As soon as I watched this part audibly, I was like, oh, that's what Nick meant when he said Aang becomes a kaiju. Because he literally becomes a water kaiju. Literally.
So what he does is, in the Spirit Oasis, you have two fish, the Moon Spirit and the Ocean Spirit. They have like spirit names, push and pull. I can't remember what they were, but they're constantly circling each other. One is a black fish with a white dot. The other is a white fish with a black dot. Sound familiar?
Yeah. It's like yin and yang, as they say it.
And they actually make that symbol when he goes into that symbol actually comes into play in this episode, like literally. And so, one detail that I really liked is if you can see some of the wider shots, you can actually see the Ocean Spirit try to circle around, but it goes kind of more like a figure eight pattern, like trying to figure out. I thought that was really nice. So Aang merges with the Ocean Spirit, and you get like the kaiju. I love how.
Well, first, wait. It's just glowing water flowing away from that lake. Then all of a sudden, it starts to grow and grow and grow. And there's Aang. He's basically in a mech suit, but made of water. It's basically, you know what it is? It's Attack on freaking Titan right now.
It's a Gundam!
It's a little bit more Attack on Titan. But I love this because it's like, all these Fire Nation people are like attacking him. He's just swatting him away with water at this point.
And then you have the Water Tribe people. They immediately see it. They bow because like they know what they're looking at.
They know what's happening. Even like he goes all the way out into the ocean, and he basically swats away the Fire Nation fleet, and it's like, go away.
Yep. And then so Sao tries to run away, and he's pursued by Zuko. Because Zuko's like, bro, you tried to kill me. Time to repay the favor. And like as you can see, like Zuko is now he's even more of a match for Zuko now. Like he beat Emerald Zhao and the Admiral Kai at the beginning of the season. Now he's doing even better. It's crazy. So yeah, the water kaiju basically destroys the Fire Nation Navy. And then so you basically going back to the Spirit Oasis, you have Iroh, Katara, Yue, and Sokka. I love one thing I love is like they recognize Iroh's not a threat because like when Xiao was about to do it, like Iroh was about to attack him, like don't do it. So I think they might kind of like, okay, maybe he's okay,
Yeah.
And then so the thing about Yue, and we're gonna get into a theory about this here in a second, was when she was born, she wouldn't sleep. She was kind of just an empty shell. Then they took her to the Moon Spirit, and she was blessed by the Moon Spirit. Her hair went white. There is a fan theory out there. So the Avatar cycle is a cycle. It goes like earth, water. I mean, like air, water, earth, fire, and then it repeats. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so you get the elements in that order. All right.
Yeah.
Like, for example, after Aang dies, the waterbender Korra, because from the Water Tribe, it's from the nations.
Mm-hmm.
There is a fan theory that Yue was the one supposed to become the Avatar, and because Aang was still alive, that it didn't have a spirit inside of her, like an empty shell, and so the moon spirit kind of filled that void.
It's actually not a bad theory when you think about it.
So when Iroh points out that she has a moon spirit, basically her and Sokka have like this really beautiful moment. Then she kind of just gives her life to the moon spirit, and she becomes the moon. So
I am the moon.
how would you feel if your ex-girlfriend was a moon and always watching over you?
So basically, she becomes a Force ghost. Is what you're telling me?
I mean, did you watch the episode? She essentially did.
She essentially did. Yeah, I know. She's like, Yoda will always be there for you.
Mm-hmm. So the moon spirit is revived. Balance is restored
To the Force.
I'm one with the Force. It wasn't with me. Sorry. So yeah. And then and then the battle, and then right before Aang stops it, the moon, the ocean spirit basically takes him away, and we don't see him around. Literally, he shows up in a cameo in Legend of Korra.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to spoil that, but like we don't see him again. He is gone, effectively dead.
Which, yay! I'm like, yeah, that dude's an a-hole.
Yeah, and so yeah. Now we're basically that's the end. Book 1, Water.
Then we have like,
Star.
wait, we have to talk about a little post-credit scene, if you will. I know it's not post-credit, but it amounts to what a post-credit scene is.
Okay. So did you recognize the voice actor?
You know, I didn't. Who was it?
You didn't like we've been talking about Star Wars this whole time.
Is it a Jedi?
Yes.
Is it a well-known Jedi?
It is the Jedi.
Luke Scott, Mark Hamill? Oh, okay, Mark Hamill. There you go.
Mark Hamill voices the Fire Lord, and we get like, so this is not the first time we see Azula. We did kind of see her in that flashback, but yeah, basically the game is set for season 2, which in my is actually season 2 is really where the show really takes off. And you'll kind of see why, Jared, when we get to that.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, overall, what were your thoughts on season 1?
Pretty good intro. Again, I've not really been like the biggest fan of Avatar in the past, but now that I've watched it, I have a very higher opinion on the show, and I'm ready when we do that to continue on to book 2. It'll be really cool.
All right. Favorite character who isn't June?
That now I actually have to think about it.
I know, that's why I did that.
Probably Aang, because I like that young hero because he's got so much put on him, but he still maintains his childhood innocence throughout the entire season.
I'm a Zuko guy. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
His story just gets even better next season. You'll love it.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's pretty cool.
What's your favorite episode?
The one with June.
Besides that one.
Do you really have to ask that?
I'm making you think. So besides
Probably
that
the first one, because I love how Aang just wakes up and goes, "You want to go penguin sledding with me?"
For me, it's the Warriors of Kyoshi, because I really feel like that's a really good episode to kind of like, it does multiple things, and also it really opens up a lot of character dynamics and whatnot. I feel like it really sets a lot of storylines in motion.
Actually, my favorite was the one where they meet with that underground resistance movement that actually is like a terrorist group.
Oh, yeah.
Because that one really dealt with a lot of heavy topics really well.
Yeah, you will be seeing Jet again.
Oh, boy. How many people will die?
Me. If you think that was bad, wait till you see season 2 and some of the stuff they do there. Like, we're talking secret police. We're talking mind control. We're talking, like, state propaganda. Like,
wow.
I'm just going to say one phrase, and I'm going to say it without context. There is no war in Ba Sing Se.
Oh.
Like, there's secret police, there's, the Emperor has invited you to Lake Laogai.
I think
trust me. You will when we get to like the bossing say arc, you will be like, whoa, you'll be like surprised at like where they go.
Wow.
Also, I'm just gonna say this right now, you're gonna fall in love with Toph.
All right, awesome. I can't wait.
Yeah, I'm sorry, just like there's so many great like moments in season 2. I'm actually really excited to get to that to see what you think of them.
Should be fun.
Oh yeah. So yeah, let's kind of move on to what happens now. Okay.
Mhm.
So season 1 is done. Awesome, we got through that. We are taking a bit of a break until we do season 2, because in return for the favor of him being on my channel, we're gonna do a rewatch on his channel. All right, Jared, take it from there.
So we're gonna be watching is the Justice League animated show from the DCAU. We're gonna be watching season 1, and so we're gonna do season 1 on my channel, kind of like how we did it here. And then once we do season 1, we'll be alternating. We'll be watching season 2 of Avatar, and then season 2 of Justice League back and forth. I'll be on Nick's channel for Avatar. He'll be on my channel for Justice League.
So we're either going to do it one of two ways, which we haven't really nailed down yet. We're either going to be releasing each episode, like both episodes, the same week, or we might just kind of like leapfrog, like kind of hopscotch. Like 1 week we do his episode, 1 week we do mine. We haven't decided yet. We'll announce that as it comes. Okay.
But real quick, so the way the episodes are structured in Justice League is 2 episode arcs. So we'll be covering 2 episodes per week, just so we can have the complete story and we don't have to like go like, okay, to be continued.
I mean, we did that here in Avatar anyway, so
yeah. I was saying it's like what we did here. Whenever we had a 2-part episode, that's essentially
like
gonna be the entire series.
Yeah. So that's all well and good. And then as a replacement for Avatar in the meantime, we have a thing we'll be starting on March 3rd.
I'm so excited.
Oh my god. That episode was so much fun to record.
So basically what it is, do you mind if I announce it?
Go ahead.
So Nick is going to be playing Jedi Fallen Order, and I'm going to be in the background heckling him whenever he dies or messes up or does anything in the game, really.
Yeah, it was bad.
I'm waiting for him to try and find a way to trip and fall in the game so I can go, ha, watch your footing. It's going to be so much fun. To give you an
All right, everyone. Chill.
To give you an idea, I'm not playing also. I'm just watching him play, but that was
the worst part.
But here's the funny part about that. I didn't care because that was easily so entertaining.
So basically the entire time you were like this.
I regret nothing! Yeah, the whole time I am like heckling him. Like whenever he jumps out, whenever he falls down a cliff, I go, Nick, you're supposed to jump. You're not supposed to fall. That's generally not the idea. Or like when he gets shot, I say, you do realize that the purpose of a lightsaber is to block flash bolts, right?
So this is a preview of Jared rating my performance in the video game.
Crap, mega crap.
Yes, that's about it. That's about it.
and then I'm like,
Please clap.
And I'm like, no. But anyway, yeah, that's gonna be Nick at the end of the game, pretty much.
And then you'd be like,
you didn't see that coming?
Yeah, exactly. I'd be like, worth it. But anyway, so that's what's gonna be. So essentially, again, we're gonna be covering Justice League, just season 1 right now. We're going to cover season 1 as we go along. And then it'll be basically like this. And then, yeah, when we reach the end of season 1, we'll do a live stream discussion on my channel too, because this was a lot of fun interacting with you guys.
Yes. And then on my part, so we're going to do books 2 and 3 of Avatar. We might cover Korra at a later date, but after we're done with that, the show. So basically the whole thing of this series is, when we cover stuff on my channel, it is shows that I've watched, but he hasn't. And we do it on his channel, it's the reverse, where he's watched something and I haven't. So you got one person who knows everything and the other person knows nothing, and that's kind of the dynamic that we have. So
I still can't believe you haven't watched Justice League, being the DC fan you are.
I watched like pieces of it here and there. So for me, after we finish Avatar, we're going to be switching gears a bit. We're going from animation to live action, and we are going to be covering the reboot from the late 2000s of Battlestar Galactica, those fracking Cylons.
Yeah, and by the way, the Katie Sackhoff series.
Yes.
So we're going to be seeing Bo-Katan, baby!
I'm just telling you now, Jared, you are going to love it.
Awesome. I can't wait.
Yep. So, right. Anything else you want to say as we wrap up? Well, like this actually ended up going a little bit longer than I thought it would.
Well, it's fine because it's a great show. And yeah, I definitely enjoyed it as someone that's historically not been that into Avatar: The Last Airbender. I've been into the Blue People Avatar, but not necessarily the Last Airbender Avatar. And it's actually inspired me to take a look at the comics. So we'll see what happens with that.
The thing to note is a lot of the comics take place after the end of the show.
So wait until we complete the show.
Yes.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right. So this has been Nick from the Phoenix Press. And remember, I can only show you the door. You're the one to walk through it.